Welcome to the Medium of Beasts finale. Maybe. My thought process is very complicated. Welcome also to my apartment for the 2025-2026 school year. See, my plan for segmented recording didn't work out so well. And I was extremely lazy and unmotivated. It is currently September 1st, Monday. My goal was to have all of these videos already scheduled and uploading. Completed, preferably. The first two I had filmed and completed in June and uploaded them privately. The last two, Wild Robot and Grey Cove, were recorded in July and were fully edited and uploaded between the 30th and the 31st of August. So here I am recording this. I had just uploaded. They're all scheduled for release. Also now, since I'm in my apartment and not in my bedroom and my house, there's no TV to have the slides on anymore. Whether or not that is a positive is subjective, but regardless, I'll just edit them right here anyway. I've made enough space to my right here. It doesn't matter. And also, they'll be the correct color, actually. We're going to be looking at Brian! Okay, I've handpicked 3 episodes. I think like 3 of the most popular ones, for good reason. Bluey is renowned for its mature, in-depth, and complex themes, which is things you don't really see in children's TV shows outside of Sesame Street or something. But that's not every episode, which is why I've decided to pick just 3. Also because 3 is the magic number. We all know that. Some episodes of this show do kind of have you staring at the screen like, and others don't achieve that. These okay, 2 of these episodes had me go gah. One of them I just picked because it was the most popular and free on YouTube. Actually, 2 of them I bought off of YouTube, and then as I went to go watch them, I realized one was free on YouTube anyway, so I wasted my money. Also, it was really hard getting screenshots. You can't screen record or you can't screenshot like purchased things off YouTube for copyright reasons. You know, it makes sense. It's not public. You bought it to watch it, not distribute it. So it makes sense. But it's not like I was going to pirate it. I just needed I needed frames for my thumbnails, and it was such a pain in the rear. I found a way around it. It's called using Firefox. Nobody tell them. The first one, Sleepytime. I love this image I found on Reddit. It cracks me up. We all know Sleepytime. It is the most popular episode. Is it my favorite out of the 3 I picked? But, it's definitely popular for a reason. I'm not going to go too far into, like, the story. I'm just going to do, like, my analysis of it. And then people can go watch the episode with my analysis and kind of implement it. Like I said in the Wild Robot video, I apparently love repeating myself. So Sleepytime, dude, I can't really take it seriously, can I? It's a grandiose metaphor. It's kind of the ones where you're like, The reference to 2001 is very accurate, because 2001 also wasn't very clear and concise. It was a very dig deeper for its meaning kind of thing, which I hated. But this episode is a metaphor for maturing and gaining your independence. Maybe. I say this like it's fact. It can be. It's probably how I see it and how a lot of people on Reddit also saw it. Because this is one I Googled. I did research for a lot of these, honestly. This Sleepytime one, I had to Google because I was like, I got no clue, man. The other ones are like, okay, I can get it. I can kind of pick it out myself. But this one, yeah, man. Leaving childhood behind and learning to be on your own. I know there's a scene where Bingo, like, lets her stuffed toy go so they can join a big ring of other stuffed toys. And that's kind of where the leaving your childhood behind thing kind of comes in. And learning to be on your own at the same time, because it's a stuffed toy. Nobody really has stuffed toys anymore except me, because my parents snuck my stuffed dolphin into my luggage. They did that when I was moving into my first dorm as well. I had no say. He was just kind of there, and they wouldn't take him back. Jackson has a stuffed toy from his childhood with him. They're probably not like that when I buy a new stuffed toy like the red panda I got for the Agretzico video. They probably thought that shit was weird. Very ironic. But yeah, it's this kind of thing like you don't need, you shouldn't buy stuffed animals because you're an adult, you eat whatever. Blah, 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 blah. It is kind of what this episode is about. It's just kind of like leaving some of those things behind, or learning how to live without them, or learning that you probably should live without them. Not every practice. I support the purchase of stuffed animals, especially with the declining birth rate, because eventually there's going to be no children to buy stuffed animals for anyway. So got to keep the market alive. Learning independence, but also to remember that you have family and friends that will support and love you. It's important to be able to feed ourselves. But it doesn't mean that we have to really live without anybody. Maturing doesn't mean learning to be alone. Maturing is a lot more complicated. Maturing means being able to form much deeper connections with the people in your life. And realizing that everyone has their kind of own life to live, or that they want to live. And you can't always be in someone's life 24/7, but it doesn't mean that they won't leave forever. No one's ever truly left to solve their problems or fend for themselves on their own. There's always going to be people to help. Maturing also is gaining a much bigger picture on the world itself. I think that's shown through here with the usage of space and all the planets and everywhere Bingo kind of travels to in her dream. It's a lot bigger world than we figure as kids. There's so much more things to see and do, and we don't really realize the scale of it. Nor do we realize how little time we have to go explore all of it. Shit, man, I am 20. I've left the country once, and it was to the Bahamas, so it wasn't even that far away. Although my sister got to go to France for her French class, which was pretty cool. It would have been a lot cooler if I got to go to Spain for my Spanish class, but that's another story. Anyway, okay, red healer symbolism / real life traits. The spirit animal website doesn't have breed specific articles. Big shocker. I had to fend for myself in an ironic series of events here. Often in spirit animal things, people look at the real life traits of animals and kind of relate that to what the spirit animal is all about. Or if the animal shows up in your dreams, it could be the universe trying to tell you this or that. The messages, and there's messages behind a species later that I'll get to. But there's no messages to be seen for red healers, so I had to be like, what are they used for in real life? Maybe that can relate. So let's see, in real life, they are hell smart. I heard that they're trained for search and rescue or to be therapy dogs, which is cool. It really parallels the messages and the themes behind this episode, I think. Independent, intelligent, but also loyal and caring. There you go. It's almost like this shit was done on purpose. All right, we're going to move on here into the second episode. Onesies. Fun fact. I looked up Bluey onesies for screen. I was originally just going to do weird screen grabs that I could find off of Google for these slides, but I found so much better things to use, as evident by the 2001 reference. This one, I mean, you really come on, you really don't got to think that hard, do you? It is a Bluey and Bingo kigurumi, which if you don't know what a kigurumi is, don't worry about it. Okay, it's about Chili, which is the mom, who has a sister that comes to visit them after they say 4 years since she last visited. And that's basically all you need to know. The episode has a small, simple message. You can't always have what you want, because life don't work like that. Universe takes great pleasure in watching you suffer. I really wrote that, huh? Okay. Specifically, this episode touches on infertility, which was surprising for a children's show. The only other place I personally have seen that kind of message brought up is in Up, and that was during the 5-minute montage at the beginning, so whatever. Chili gives this whole spiel to Bluey about how, it's going to sound very verbatim here, she wants something more than anything in the world, but she can't have it because it wasn't meant to be. Intercut that speech with shots of her playing with Bingo, and it's like, I wonder what it could possibly be talking about. It's very sad, and for a lot of people, I would assume very relatable. It's cool to see representation like that that's not so common, you know what I mean? Undercut in a later episode where we do see her pregnant, so who cares anymore? Nah, but still, it's a sweet little episode about, stuff like that. And then that's kind of the reason why she hasn't shown up to visit them in so long, is because she's envious of them. That they have a family that she can't have, It's very sad. But then she gets pregnant, so who cares? For the final episode, this image, I think, is a reference to some anime movie called Planets. Planetes. Never seen it, never heard of it. Space out of these three, I think, is my favorite. Because it touches on childhood trauma. Characters focus on Mackenzie, and they're playing like space with a couple of his friends. He always wants to pretend, he throws in this narrative that his two comrades left him behind on their space voyage. We don't know why. Well, we do know why by the end. These things are like 7 minutes long. It's not really there's not much story to touch on. Here's something I didn't know, because I did have to do research on this. Kids relive or reenact traumatic events through playing or pretending, which was very interesting and very scary to me. I don't think I ever did that, but I wouldn't remember. I don't really have that many traumatic events. I did get lost in a supermarket once. That was scary. I wouldn't say it traumatized me. And it's all a form of coping or processing the trauma. And it's a real life thing that, it's real life. Real shit. A quote from the episode reads, also verbatim, "You know what's here now. You don't need to keep coming back to this place." Mackenzie wasn't really left behind as a wee baby. He, they just kind of got separated for a couple seconds, but he thought that he was left behind. And it was scary, and it traumatized him. Through the events of this episode, he does kind of come to fully realize that he wasn't really left behind. His mom was still there. He doesn't have to keep reliving it over and over and over again, because he finally came to realize that and accept that. One of the more hard-hitting episodes that I've seen. I haven't seen that many, to be fair. I know there's one where Bluey goes camping and meets some French kid. Yeah, but Border Collie symbolism / messages, as I said. Mackenzie's a Border Collie, by the way. If you see a Border Collie in your dreams, what's the universe trying to tell you? What is it trying to tell you? The universe is trying to tell you that you're losing yourself. You often react immediately, as opposed to stopping and thinking and acting towards your better self. And a message that you need to stay focused on the present. It couldn't be more on the nose than this, I don't think. Mackenzie is kind of losing touch with the present and keeps reliving in the past, and in the present keeps reacting to this kind of the trauma he has, instead of trying to really process it and and think about it. But yeah, man, the symbolism stuff I think is just cool sometimes. You have to think, of course their species were chosen for a specific reason. The specific reason isn't always symbolic. I think Bluey was made because the creator had a blue healer as a kid, and it's all right, whatever. But for characters like this, where it's Mackenzie, why is Mackenzie a Border Collie? Probably because of that. Why is, I don't even know any other characters. You think I'd keep up with Bluey lore? I got no clue. Man, you better know it's time. The D&D style alignment chart. This is my favorite part. I don't know about any other people, but this is my favorite part. Would it be easier to sort it via column or row first? It's simple to just look at its popularity, Bluey is hella popular, so it's gonna go in the bottom row. Man, this shit is easy peasy. About the furries that made it, are there any? I don't think Joe Brum is honestly, I don't know. But it doesn't matter, because there are a lot of other people on the production team anyway. Writers, animators, voice actors, like I said. And it really feels good to put it in the middle column there. At least one furry on the production team. And it's very popular. It's very popular outside the fandom. You can't always use logic for the D&D style alignment chart. You gotta be where does it feel the best to put it at, It's hard to believe that there would be 0 furries on the production team of Bluey just because of its art style. Joe Brum may be one himself. We will never know. If it's on the far right column with the wild robot, it doesn't fit to me. That's all, plushy plungers. Yeah, this was the end. This was the final episode I was going to do for the soft launch season. Again, as iterated before, if this is popular enough, which honestly I don't think it is, I don't think it will be. It's not looking good, Chief. But if it is, I'll do another season. I'll do season 2. I'll do another 5 episodes. I don't see why not. No, I see why not. If it's not you, and you get it. Schrodinger's podcast, all right? Season 2 is being made and not being made at the same time. Okay, I do, of course, because I guess I'm just like this. I have some plans for season 2 if it comes to fruition. And also, if you want to see season 2, then you show this to all your friends or whatever. Grey Cove, chapters 4 through 6. I looked at Grey Cove a bit ago. They're on chapter 5 now. So a lot of the shit I said during the recording session of that has become null and void. Zootopia, a classic. I gotta look at it, man. Fantastic Mr. Fox, also another classic. Also, I planned for this podcast to have guests on it. I didn't want to do that for the soft launch season because, I don't know, it just doesn't, it didn't feel right. Judas Iscariot, I think is how you pronounce it, or Iscariot. Judas, no, that is an upcoming short film that adapts the New Testament and makes all of them furries. It looks really cool. Again, for purposes of symbolism and metaphor. I haven't done a lot of research yet, but they made Jesus a bull. I don't know why yet. I will cross that bridge if I get to it. If. Oh, and Changed. Man, really? Changed is a video game. I gotta have a video game on here somewhere. Because I keep saying book/movie/show/game and then have no games. I've heard a lot about it. I've only seen some gameplay. Never played it myself. Never seen the ending or anything. It's basically an enigma. What else is on my list for this show in the future besides these 5? We got Simon Thorne and the Wolf's Den. Wolf Song, another book. Simon Thorne is a book. More Bluey! BNA. Agretzico Season 1 episode specific. Yeah, I was gonna do that, wasn't I? The Bad Guys classic. And Zootopia 2, a soon-to-be classic, hopefully. Oh, and Night in the Woods. Right, I feel like I should put Night in the Woods over, but too late. I hope this all kind of opened people's minds to the world of the furry fandom, because it's a lot more than just a bunch of smelly, sweaty weirdos in brightly colored animal costumes. It's really this. The basis of the fandom is this. I think I've said this already, but it's all of its media, Maybe it'd be helpful to compare it to object shows where all the characters are inanimate objects, except they're not inanimate because they have faces and can talk, but it doesn't matter. They're all objects, and they're all specific objects, probably for a specific reason. Same kind of thing with this furry shit here, but to me, it's less stupid. To some other people, maybe it's more stupid. It's all subjective anyway, but what isn't subjective is what the fandom really is about. It's media. So this is me signing off on Medium of Beasts, and I will see now what the future holds.